More grinding, more hustle, more time doesn't mean more sales. See, if you're working 50 hours a week and you're in sales, you're doing it all wrong. You're not here to kill yourself. It's not worth it. Spend time on what matters most, your health and your family, and get yourself into a peak state where you can perform during the day. Ian Koniak here, and today I'm going to share how to work less and sell more, significantly more. And this may sound too good to be true, and we're going to walk through exactly how you can actually reduce your hours by 20%, 30% per week and actually sell a lot more. So let's dive into it. This video is inspired from a coaching client. I just had a call earlier this morning, and this client had been working around 50 hours a week. He's got 3 kids. He's got 4 dogs. His health is suffering. He's constantly stressed. He feels like he has to work to provide for his family, to provide for his wife is a full-time mom and great guy. I love him to death, but if he doesn't change how he works, he could die from a heart attack or from stress. And so we just did something called a calendar optimization. And I'm going to talk to you about how I worked with him to go from a schedule of 50 hours a week to about 40 hours a week. And actually, do what's more impactful. So without further ado, what I'm going to talk to you about is something called Parkinson's law, okay? And Parkinson's law is simple. It says that work expands to fill the time allotted. Let's say you work 50 hours, okay? You actually are going to have 50 of the hours of work that you can find and fill up, meaning there's going to be either a lot of busy work that you're doing that you don't need to do, admin work, like updating CRM and kind of just a bunch of data entry, anything like that. Or you're going to work less efficient, meaning you're going to be slower because you're giving yourself more time. And in this particular example, this guy was working in the morning for an hour. He'd wake up and he'd start working for an hour. Then he'd take his kids to school, get ready for the day, get back online for a morning stint, go running during the day because he's going to be running a marathon to help with his health. And so he's doing that during the day. And then he'd go back online in the afternoon. And then at night, he'd take care of his kids and family obligations and sports. And then at night, he'd fire the laptop back again. So he actually had 4 different spurts or different time blocks of work he was doing per day, which is very inefficient because you actually have to start and stop multiple times. And every time you have to start up again, you have to reset where you were, you have to reprioritize, you have to scramble what you're doing. So we worked on optimizing his calendar, and I'll kind of show you again what that looks like in a minute. But the concept is really simple, okay? It's called Parkinson's law. And what it means is on one side, you have effort. This is how hard you're working. And the other side, you have time. And Parkinson's law states that the less time that you allocate for work, the more focus and effort you have to put into the hours that you are working. See, if you're working 50 hours a week and you're in sales, you're doing it all wrong. You're not very efficient. You're starting and stopping. You're having to reset. It's actually not healthy and you'll burn out. No one wants to work until they're 50, 60, but that's what's going to happen if you work this way. You're not going to get ahead. So what Parkinson's law states is if you work, right, for less, the effort's going to be higher, but your time is less. So really, we're talking about this period right here. This is the sweet spot right here for Parkinson's law. You want to contrast how many hours you're working, right? So time is the hours that you're working. You want to contract that. You want to actually have less hours to work and have more intensity during the work time. You don't want to be here because your effort's actually less if you give yourself a lot of time. You're not working as efficiently. And so that's the gist of Parkinson's law. So what I recommend for people is to do what's called a calendar optimization exercise. And that's really simple. Look at from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed. It's an audit. It's an audit of how much you're working. So in this case, I'll just show you the before and after state. I'll just throw it on here. So the before state, he'd wake up at 6:30. He'd, get ready for work. He'd work from 7 to 8 a.m. every day, right? Then he'd take the kids to school, 8 to 8:30. He's got to stop. He's got to reset. 8:30 to 12. He was working again. Then he had his run and some lunch for an hour and a half. He's back on it 1:30 till 5:30, working again. And then from 5:30 to 9:30, his family. And then 9:30 to 11 is working again till 11:30, 10 to 11:30, somewhere in that range. So he's not getting that much sleep. He's getting maybe 7 hours sleep if he goes to bed at 11:30, wakes up at 6:30, but it's not really 7 hours. It's like more like 6.5. It's not great. You want to try and get between 7 and 8 of real sleep. That's why I track my sleep with this Whoop. No plug intended for Whoop, but it's really important to sleep track so you have energy. So that was his before state. If I add up all of this work hours, it's about 50 hours a week working, right? But what more? He starts work in the morning, this power hour. He's waking up and going online. That's not ideal. Ideally, you want to start with a morning routine. You want to start with something that's going to, some exercise, some spiritual practice, some gratitude before you start the day, before you fire up the laptop, because then you're going to actually be able to work more efficiently. So you want to start with something that helps with your energy. So that was here. There's another stint from 8:30 to 12 that was here. There's another one from 1:30 to 5:30 and from 11:30 to 12. So it's like 4 different periods of work. Not efficient, right? It's a lot of time, but there's not as much focus because you have to reset, you have to get reoriented. All right, so that was the before state. The after state was real simple. I didn't change much with him. He's still going to wake up at 6:30, but from 7 to 8:30, we're actually going to move the run. We're going to start with the run, right, from this period of time, and then he can take the kids back, and before he starts work, he's going to time block. He's going to prioritize everything he needs to do that day and block off his day, as well as do a gratitude practice. So when he starts at 8:30, this time is efficient. It's not wasted space. It's not white space where he's not, sure of what to do and has to use his brain to decide. It's already decided. Okay, it's something called the 12-week year, which I teach, which is at the beginning of the week, you prioritize what you're going to do, you rank it, right, with different ranking systems, and then you don't have to think about it. You just block it in your day every day. I'll make a separate video on the 12-week year, but you can Google Ian Koniak 12-week year and watch it and see how it works. But ultimately, you're using your brain power once to plan what you want to do and prioritize what you want to do each week. You do it once a week, and then in the beginning of the day, you just have to keep your commitments to yourself. That's how it works. So this run's going to go here, right? Then he's got his kids. He's got some gratitude practice, some affirmations, and then he'll work 8:30 to 12. This hour is going to be lunch with his wife, which is something I've been doing a long time, right? That's going to fill his soul, feed his relationship, right? Then he's going to work from 1 to 5:30, okay? And then after 5:30, it's going to be family time till 9:30. And this 9:30 to 10:30 slot is going to be time to chill out, not to go back online. Don't end your day doing work, because that's going to impact how well you sleep, and it's going to cause stress. So he was starting work, in first thing in the morning, and he was ending work before he goes to sleep. That's not great for your sleep patterns. So again, looking at the 9:30 to 10:30, we're going to replace that with family time, to go hang out with his wife, to go watch a show, to relax, to read, whatever you want to do, but just get yourself in a calm state before you go to bed. So those two changes, by eliminating this night spot and this morning spot and replacing it with running, exercise, and family connection in the marriage, he's going to be much happier and calmer for his work state. And he's also going to have more clarity and more energy to be efficient during these work days. Because he's not efficient in his work days, he has to work in the morning and the nighttime. Well, he doesn't have to do that anymore. That's something I call calendar optimization. Okay, and by doing that, he went from around 50 hours to 40 hours. And it's going to force him to work more efficiently. Remember, because work expands to fill the time allotted. By working less, he's going to have to be more efficient. He's going to have to work faster. He's going to have to say no to busy work or admin work and yes to RGAs. Okay? More grinding, more hustle, more time doesn't mean more sales, right? If you want to sell more, you actually have to be clear. You have to be energized. You have to have some space to think, not just be a robot on a hamster wheel grinding and not knowing where you're doing and where you're going and doing busy work all the time. So if this video resonates, if you guys struggle with time management, that's what I teach in my coaching program. If you want us to do a free audit for you, okay, and you want us to look at how you're working right now, okay, and come up with a better schedule, I recommend setting up a free coaching strategy call, and you can talk about your time management struggles. Bring them to us. Let's talk about how hard you're working and are you getting the results you want. If you're working 50 hours and not hitting your plan or not getting like $1 million or over 500K, you're doing something wrong. So if you want to book a free strategy call with my team, okay, you can book it right here. If you want to watch that video I told you about the 12-week year and how to use it, you can do it right here, okay? We're here to help. You're not here to kill yourself. It's not worth it. Spend time on what matters most, your health and your family, and get yourself into a peak state where you can perform during the day. I'm Ian Kodiak. I'll see you guys next week.